In October 1976, inside Graceland's Jungle Room, Elvis Presley recorded his final song, Way Down.
Ooh, and I can feel.
His health was failing, but his voice still carried power and soul. No one knew it then, but this moment would become the King's last recording and his final, unforgettable gift to the world. By the mid-1970s, Elvis Presley was a man worn down by the crown he carried. The fame that once made him untouchable had taken its toll. His body was bloated, his spirit tired, and his world confined mostly to the quiet halls of Graceland. But when it came to music, the old passion still stirred. His eccentric living space filled with deep green carpet, carved wood furniture, and tropical lamps had become an unlikely studio. It was intimate, comfortable, and hidden away from the world's gaze. RCA engineers set up their gear, transforming the room into a private recording haven where Elvis could work without pressure or judgment. When he arrived that October evening, he looked frail, but the moment he stepped behind the mic, the exhaustion vanished. As the red recording light blinked on, so did his focus. The song was Way Down, written by Lying Martine Jr., an upbeat, funky track with a groove that pulsed with energy. It was the kind of song that belonged to a man still full of fight. And for those few minutes, Elvis was exactly that. His voice thundered across the room, rich, commanding, alive. He joked with the band between takes, laughed at his own missed notes, and threw himself into the rhythm as if trying to outrun the inevitable. His longtime bassist, Jerry Sheff, later said, "When Elvis sang, everything else disappeared. It didn't matter how he looked or felt, he still had that fire." Everyone present that night knew they were hearing something special. It wasn't perfection, but it was pure, unfiltered Elvis. Outside the music, though, life was slipping through his fingers. The stage lights had dimmed, and Graceland had turned into both a sanctuary and a cell. Nights were long, filled with restless wandering and heavy medication. He was surrounded by people, yet more alone than ever, haunted by what fame had given and taken away. When Way Down was released in June 1977, fans heard it as a sign of revival. The song's infectious energy and unmistakable voice reminded the world of the man who had once defined an era. Radio stations played it endlessly, and for a brief moment, it felt like Elvis might be ready to rise again. But the comeback never came. On August 16, 1977, barely 6 weeks after the song's release, Elvis Presley was found dead in his Graceland bathroom. The world stopped. Fans gathered outside the gates in tears, holding candles and playing his records into the night. Then, Way Down surged to #1. What began as a fun, fiery track suddenly sounded like prophecy. Lines like, "Way down where the music plays, way down like a tidal wave," hit differently, like a farewell hidden in plain sight. It became his last message, his final roar. Even now, when Way Down plays, you can almost feel it. The echo of that night in the Jungle Room, the weight of a legend's final performance, and the voice of a man who gave everything to his music until the very end. Elvis may have left the building, but his voice still echoes through time. Way Down wasn't just his final song, it was his final heartbeat. What do you think? Was it destiny that his last recording became his last message? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you love stories from music's golden era, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more timeless legends.